Hi guys, I hope you all are doing good. I actually am very happy with your response for the previous class, and I've seen that all of you have submitted the quiz. I will publish your quiz result shortly in Google Classroom. Some seven of you have not yet submitted your assignment. Please make sure that you submit your assignment before 12 o'clock tonight. Then your response was very good for the class. Most of you have given some valuable suggestions regarding classes, and you were very enthusiastic and you responded well. So your response was pretty good. And today's class is actually about the things that one of you expressed in the previous class. So that was actually the topic meant for today, and one of you really said that you need more explanation on smart cards. It was anyway due. I was about to explain you more about smart cards, and it was really very good to see such eager response to know things. So I'm really happy that you wanted to know. So that's what learning is all about. When you want to know more about something, when you inquire, then only we get, right? We get what we deserve. We get what we want to know. So I pretty much appreciate that concern shown by you to more, that concern shown by you to know more about things. So we will learn about the pros and cons of smart cards. That is to say, we will learn about the advantages and disadvantages of smart cards. We learn about the merits and demerits of smart cards. So first of all, I would like to show you this picture of a smart card, and if you look closely into the picture, there you will find a golden rectangle, right? Something like a golden rectangle, a small one with a few lines on that. That is actually the gold plated, gold coated part of the smart card, okay? Beneath that, under that gold coating, we have the actual chip. And this is the gold coating that is used for making electrical contact. Any card reader reads the information in a smart card by making electrical contact with the chip through this gold coating. Okay, this gold coating helps a card reader to make electrical contact with the smart card chip. That is to say, the processor in the smart card. In my last class, I had not shown you the picture. Just for your understanding, I'm telling you that is where the chip is located. The chip is located right beneath the gold plated coating. Contains advantages of smart cards and disadvantages. First advantage of a smart card is better security. Well, this is true in a lot of ways, okay? Firstly, you take your debit and credit cards. Earlier we had swiping cards. It has been replaced by EMV cards. These cards, EMV cards, have a chip in it. You can take your debit card, that is to say, you can take your ATM card and check it, okay? You would see that those cards have a chip. They have a gold plated coating, just like I made you see just now. So this has a better security in the sense that these chips, these smart cards are highly secured. Okay, number one, whenever they are entered anywhere for a transaction, they don't give the actual data to the payment terminal. Whether you are putting it in a POS machine or in an ATM machine, it doesn't give all the data that is stored in your card. It doesn't transform all the data to the machine. It rather works in a complex way. Okay, these smart cards which are based on EMV protocol, EMV protocol we discussed in our last class, right? They work in a complex way. They create complex algorithms, okay, which are called as cryptography. So they work on the basis of this cryptography, and they generate fresh data for each transaction so that no payment terminal can capture all the data. Sometimes what happens is that in the payment terminals, like ATM machines for example, either POS machines, which are called as payment terminals, or even ATM machines. Usually in ATM machines, some unscrupulous people, some fraudsters, they would put some skimming devices. By using those skimming devices, generally data in a card could be read. Usually the old card, those swiping cards, magnetic stripe based cards, where you would swipe the card and take it out. Such cards data could be read using such skimming devices. Once the data is read and everything in your card is known, then all your money would be fraudsters. He can steal your money, he can use your money as if the money belongs to him. So to prevent this, these cards have been introduced. I think some 6 months back or 1 year back, banks decided to replace your cards, right? There is a long history behind that actually. In 1993, France introduced the new EMV based smart card system, and a lot of European countries followed the examples, but America didn't. But in 2014, a data breach occurred in America, and many people's identity were compromised. After that, America decided to go for EMV based smart card chip in debit cards and credit cards. RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, observed this, and in 2015 they suggested all the banks, they instructed the banks that they have to migrate to the EMV based smart card chip rather than magnetic stripe based simple cards. By the end of 2018, banks had to complete the task, but by the end of 2019, all the banks did complete the task of changing. So all the cards, debit cards and credit cards that we are using now are EMV chips, which are based on processing. And in addition, these cards, these EMV chip based smart cards are better secured also, because in this system both card and pin is required. So a car is well secured because you think of a car, a person can steal your car only when he has access to car as well as your key, right? Only when car is there, no, he cannot do that. He should also have your key. Similarly, even if your physical possession of card is compromised, then also one cannot do anything, because he should also have pin. Earlier magnetic stripe based cards traditionally did not have this pin. There was a case, when Shah Rukh Khan's credit card was stolen and somebody shopped using his card because there was no other security. No pin was required at that time. So securities have been updated, and certain smart cards with the standard protocols of security are pretty well secured smart cards. So smart cards bring to the table better security. Smart cards do increase business for the firm because loyalty programs can be designed on the basis of this. You go to a petrol pump, usually they would give you a loyalty card, okay? Every time you put petrol, you would have to give that card to them. They would add you loyalty points. As you keep transacting with them more and more, they would understand that you are their frequent customers, right? Then they can give you some discounts, etc. So this is not just used in petrol pumps, this is used in a lot of shops these days. That way, they can know that you are a frequent customer, as such they can serve you better. So that way this can be used there. That way they can understand their customers and they can increase their business. Similarly, you can also think of a lot of places such as entertainment places, etc. Say if you go to city center mall, for example, you would find that there is a place where you can play, right? Or with all those specialized PlayStation equipments and all. But initially, you would have to make a card by paying 300 rupees also. So when you make this purchase of a card, and then you can recharge and play using the machines. But as you do this, they would also get to know that how you're using your card, what games are you playing, etc. So this data would be helpful for them to improve their facilities further. And again, some of the transport facilities like buses, etc., they provide people with smart cards. So if you are a daily traveler, then you would have to make a card, and then they would swipe this card and money would be deducted. That way, it is an advantage for you because you would get discount. It is an advantage for them because nobody can simply claim that he needs a pass, he comes daily, etc. Because there is a official facility where these cards are obtained by providing documents, and as such you would be benefited as well as the company would be benefited. So this way, this has a wide perspective to increase businesses. Then this reduces fraud. Instance of fraud can be reduced, as I told you, in case of EMV chips. It has reduced ATM frauds and debit card frauds substantially because these are very well secured in comparison. Facilitates data collection. I told you, if you are doing whatever, okay, they would know. Say for example, you transfer your money to somebody, the credit card company would know, your bank would know. When you shop using the cards, they would know, and they know what are the things that you would like to purchase, etc. This has a tremendous advantage in the sense that when they get to know, they can serve you better, such companies. So it facilitates tremendous data collection. And you think of yourself, you buy a memory card, for example. Your memory card is a smart card, right? So when you buy a memory card, a small memory card which has 128 GB of space, imagine how many songs can you store, how many movies can you store. So huge amount of data can be stored in a small card. So that's a tremendous advantage, right? Government collects a great amount of information of a person through a small card called as a PAN card. The PAN card is a very small card, but it can collect huge amount of information regarding a person, right? That is possible. Government is trying to migrate all the Aadhaar cards also in the form of a smart card for the same reason, because data can be collected and updated very easily. If you are going to do this with the help of papers, imagine how many papers would you need, and how often those things need to be updated, and how complicated it is in a country like India. And add to the fact that the amount of paper wastage and the number of trees that are going to get cut, etc. So that way this is also eco-friendly as well, isn't it? Processor of a smart card is akin to the size of a baby stump, very small processor. You saw that gold coating, right? Under that you have that processor, which is very, very small. You are very familiar with your SIMs, right? You keep changing the SIMs as you keep changing the mobile phones, or you put into a different mobile phone, etc. Or you give your mobile phone a repair and you take your SIM. So So there are SIMs, micro SIMs are there, nano SIMs are there, and even in all those SIMs also, the actual part of the processor is very, very small. So since the processor is small, that can be fit in a card of any size. It can be fit in a debit card, it can be fit in a credit card, it can be fit in any access cards, it can be fixed even in a SIM. So it can be fixed anywhere. So that's very useful. Combating crime, that is another factor, It is very helpful in combating crime. Most crimes are actually these days caught because of the digital surveillance. Some of you have mentioned that in your assignments as I read it. Whenever any crime occurs, one of the things that police actually do is that they see the caller list of the suspected people, whom they have called, whom they have spoken to, whom they have texted, what have they texted. This would give you a very great idea as to what that person was plotting, If somebody has committed a crime, you would get a great detail regarding that when you check that person's caller details, etc. So that's very helpful, in case of investigations of crimes, etc. Yeah, has created a number of multi-billion-dollar industries. Entire surveillance industry, CC camera, etc. industries, they are based on this technology, because data can be stored very easily in a smart card. That is very helpful. All our cable TVs have a set-top box nowadays, and all these set-top box have a smart card in it which stores the data. So that industry is helped with the help of this. And all of us have mobile phones, and all these mobile phones have a SIM, which are again based on smart cards. So even when you throw your mobile phones, it doesn't mean that your number would change, right? You can use the same number with the SIM, what is actually a smart card, in a new phone as well. Even if your SIM is lost, you can easily get a new SIM with the same number, right? All these things are possible. So telecom industry you take, the surveillance industry you take, or the entertainment industries such as cable television you take. All these industries have been favored because of smart cards. Has a wide range of applications. We discussed in our previous class. It can be used in SIM. It can be used in cable television. It can be used to give access to people to certain areas. Government can give access to a very few people to a secret nuclear facility. A corporate company can give access to a very sensitive project only to a few people using a smart card. Those with the smart card can only swipe and get into a room. Similarly, in a hotel room, a 5-star hotel room, people are given rooms with the help of a smart card. As they put the smart card into a particular card holder, then only the room would open. As you put your card into the card reader, then only the room would open. That way you are very safe. You can be sure that nobody is accessing into your room without any authority. So such things are very helpful. It has lots of applications. Driving licenses, governments use smart cards. Your vehicle registrations, again smart cards. PAN cards, smart cards. Your Aadhaar card is also going to be smart cards sooner. So it has a wide variety of applications. At a personal level, your memory cards, by the way, are again smart cards. You put it into your mobile phones and you expand your storage. So all these are smart cards. Economic, very cheap, right? You can get a 128 GB or 256 GB memory card at a very cheap price. They are cheap compared to the space they provide. So even in 1 GB, imagine how many songs you can store. So there are about 128 GBs of memory. You can store hundreds of movies. So the price paid is very less when you compare it with the storage. Loss of privacy. This is one huge problem actually. You go to a shop, you make a purchase which is supposed to be confidential. If you pay cash, nobody would know. But when you pay card, well, your bank would know that you have made a purchase. Merchant's Bank would know that you have made a purchase. Card network, Visa, MasterCard, those foreign companies, they would know that you have made a purchase. So there is no privacy. A lot of other people are going to know what you are doing with your money. So that is a problem. This is called as a phenomenon of digital footprint. A government can know what their citizens are spending their money on. You spend your hard-earned money, but the governments can know what you're doing. Not just a government, a lot of private individuals and companies can know what you are doing. Now, this is a concern of privacy. While governments really love it because a lot of black money can be curbed this way, there would be transparency, which is fine. Transparency is a very good thing in dealings, but privacy is also important. Certain times, you would want that your private lives are not interfered with. So, that would be lost at times, and that's a bad thing. You may have noticed in case of Sushant Singh Rajput's tragic suicide. After his death, media had a lot of interest in the case, and as such, within a few days we knew, just before hours of his death, Sushant Singh Rajput had typed how to commit suicide in his mobile phone. Like how to die without pain. It also says that he had also typed about a mental illness called schizophrenia. These are extremely private information of an individual, but see, when you have a mobile phone, these things should be out. Nothing is private in this digital world. And that's a concern, that's a problem. Now it's okay, there was a death, there is an investigation and things are coming out. But such details, whatever you do in your very private time, in your very private capacity can be accessed by unscrupulous people anytime. And this is a very, very sad state of affair. Not just sad, it is also a very dangerous state of affair. Because people can misuse your informations. Tool of surveillance in the hands of government machinery. Now I can speak about it because many of you have turned in your assignment. Governments can use this for surveillance if they want to. A lot of CC cameras with these smart cards can be placed at various places to know whether people are engaging in anti-active activities against the governments. This is happening already in certain foreign countries such as Russia. If you look at Moscow, for example, after COVID, there has been a lots of cameras, okay? Lots of CC cameras. Now, well, this is good for COVID, but what if the government continues with these such measures even after that, just to know if people are looking at if people are engaging in any activity that might be perceived as a threat to the government. Similarly, with these debit cards, credit cards, all your financial details would be out. What if, say for example, in any part of the world there is a government which perceives people as a threat and which is autocratic. If there is such a government exists anywhere in the world, then definitely they might use this tool for surveillance. They may make sure that no people would fund the opposition movement, no people would give any money to the opposition movement, because if they do it using any smart card, then the government would know. Whatever you do, a footprint would be left. So in case of an autocratic government, that would be a huge problem. George Orwell had written in his book, in the book called 1984, that in case of an autocratic government, how the surveillance could take place, and these digital instruments can only facilitate such surveillance, because nothing you can do it in private, everything can be watched by a government which wants to watch and make sure that no opposition, no voice of dissent arises anywhere for their rule or misrule. So that is one of the problem. they can be lost and forgotten because they are very small instruments, they are very delicate. While smart cards are cheap, card readers are not cheap. Card readers are very expensive equipments. If you are buying it as a merchant, you would have to pay a lot of money. So most of the merchants rent it from the bank. Banks collect a huge amount of rent. In addition, they would also collect commission on the sale also. If a company doesn't have, for example, a seller doesn't have sufficient sales, then it would be very difficult for him to rent this machine. So all those rent agreements and the formalities followed by a monthly fees to the bank and on top of it commission, and to make sure that a certain amount of sales take place every month on these cards. It's extremely it's an extremely painstaking task for any bank. So it's not sorry. It's a very painstaking task for any seller. So those devices are not cheap. As such, these cards, becomes expensive as far as merchants are concerned, or those people who ever would want to read this financial information that are there in the smart card. Issues with security. Well, as I told you, the cards are secure. No card is really perfectly secure because there are certain hackers who are genius. Even the EMV chip based smart cards, about which I had talked to you about, and I boasted a lot about its security, but it is said that even those cards can be compromised. There are ways of attacking, such as man in the middle attack, where such smart cards with very good security can also be compromised. While securities are great, there are hackers who are genius in their field. They know a lot about how to hack a card, no matter the level of security. This is one aspect here. Another aspect with security is that we common men, the common folks, have no idea about the level of securities. We would plainly believe what is being said to us. The only two kind of people who really knows it. The first is those who set things right, those who improve the security on a continuous basis, those who are involved in this task, such computer scientists. The second people who would know the actual level of security are those con men who are looking to hack them. They know everything about this. Since they know that, they can actually get unauthorized access into these smart cards. But as common people, we do not really know much about this. So we believe the security information provided to us. So that is a very big problem with these smart cards. Our knowledge about this is very limited. Also, one more thing I need to tell you about this, that the security of smart cards is not uniform. Credit cards, debit cards are very secured because the EMV protocol is very strong. Similarly, a number of cards are very secured. They are secured because they follow certain standards, but not all smart cards are born equal. Certain smart cards are smart cards, but they do not really follow any standard security protocol. As such, their security is very meek. Their security is very weak. Public perception of security is another matter. Public do not really have sufficient knowledge about the security. That's one thing. In addition to that, public perception regarding smart cards also. In a country like India, where we know that there are more than 6 lakh villages, working around with this smart card gets tricky. We have lots of people who are illiterate, a lot of people who are undereducated here. So it will be very difficult to imagine that they can suddenly get adopted to the technology such as smart cards, these card readers, or the sophisticated host systems that deal with these cards. So widespread adoption of smart cards in India would definitely take time. That is something that we can expect. So these are the things about smart cards that we have discussed in this class. So I hope you had a good time. Enjoy. God bless you. Take care. Bye bye.